my favorite saying, I treat the janitor and the CEO the same.
Yeah.
Because every single person from that janitor to that CEO, they literally change the way our day flows. Everybody has a story to tell that makes them extraordinary, and that's what this podcast is all about. Welcome back to Conversations with Caitlin. Welcome to Conversations with Caitlin. I hope you all have had a great week. And today I'm really excited to share my next guests with you. Guests, actually, today. I am joined by Marissa, Lessman Galizia, and Joey Galizia, the producers and directors of an upcoming film, This Is Our City, which is premiering here in our backyard of Las Vegas later in May. And we are so excited to talk about their film, to talk about storytelling, to talk about all things arts. So please welcome Marissa and Joey.
Hey, hello. Thanks for having us, Caitlin.
Welcome to the show. We are new friends. We are
Very close already, though.
Very locks up
Killing
in
it.
life. Pretty much the humor.
When I retell the story of how we met, I was like, well, Caitlin was in our wedding party, obviously.
That's right. I know their baby.
Yeah,
I'm the godmother. There we are.
That's right. That's right.
So as you can tell, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a very colorful conversation, very exciting. And of course, one of my favorite things to talk about is the arts and how we're bringing more of that to our community.
Trying our best.
We are, right? Step by step, day by day. So, Marissa, I want to start with you. You have a very interesting background. So if you would share a little bit with my guests about how you kind of got into directing, producing, and writing, and acting. I've missed something in there, I'm sure.
And trying to get a tan.
That's right. In our free time in Las Vegas.
Trying to learn how to cook. I'm trying.
All the things, girl.
Anyways, so I went to undergrad for actor. So Joey and I are high school sweethearts.
Woo!
We went to school here. We've
I love
been
it.
together for 17 sweet years, which has been awesome.
Every day. It's not enough. I wish I could have those first 15 years that we weren't together and just tack them on.
So you're like the typical soulmates, which we all see and go, oh, that's so precious.
I always just say that I fell in love with him and I never fell out.
Oh, I love that.
I don't know what it means to not wake up and be so unbelievably in love with him.
This is going to be nauseating, but when I wrote my
sweet Italian
yes,
stallion.
I'll pin it by saying that when we did our vows, I was like, this is the easiest thing because I've been writing this since the moment I met you.
That's so lovely.
Which that's what I got during the wedding, which was nice. It was a nice response.
Everyone was crying, and all I said was, "That was really nice."
Well, you're like that was genuinely nice, but also all these people are staring at me.
Yeah, but that was really nice, And anyways, I digress. So I went to undergrad for acting. I really thought I wanted to do it. I don't really love it. Obviously, I'm kudos to anybody who really loves it because it's so brutal. And it just, I very quickly just came to the conclusion that I enjoyed writing much more than I enjoyed acting. So long story short, I got my master's degree in screenwriting at DePaul in Chicago, and shout out to D, the Blue Diamonds.
The Blue Tiger Diamonds?
Blue Demons. That's it.
No one.
I was like, anyway, so in between my undergrad and grad, though, I just started writing and producing. So I wrote a feature, I wrote a pilot, I just started doing that in Chicago. I started sort of gaining a network of creatives, people that I just really loved to work with, that we just had fun. We were like-minded. I am a comedy writer, so obviously Second City is there, and so I took Second City classes in writing and met my mentor, Michael McCarthy, who unfortunately passed away of spinal cord cancer, but he was a great love of my life. So he was the one that really encouraged me to go to grad school. Anyway, so went to grad school, wrote my butt off, and then just started working. So moved to LA, worked some more, again, kept producing. So This Is Our City is my 11th movie that I've produced between shorts and features.
That's incredible.
It's just, it's I don't know how to not love this thing, with everything that I've got. Gotten the opportunity to work with some really fun people, some really not so fun people, and
Isn't it always the way in this work?
Yeah.
Love some, leave some, maybe not.
Yeah.
Some shoot days we definitely wish we could be like, oh man, I could nuke that out of my memory. and
Correct.
that would be
Yeah.
so
Never
wonderful.
again. Thank you. Yeah.
Of course. Some were really brutal, some were really fun, but I mean, I love to produce. I love to write. Again, just gotten some opportunities to work with some great networks, some great studios, some great professionals, and just want to keep doing it.
And it's, one of kind of the ongoing themes in this podcast, and I love it because it's part of everything that I do in my life is storytelling. And I think so often we forget when we're watching art, whether it's a musical, a TV show, a film, the writing behind it, like to be able to sit down and conceptualize these people and this storyline, that is a tremendous gift.
Yeah.
One that I do not have. So I bow down.
It's just, writing is not, I've always been somebody that has gravitated towards writing dialogue. I always write like super hyper realistic characters. It's just kind of where I've always been. I love like Brighton Beach Memoirs is my favorite play. I love Neil Simon. I know, but like that's when I first read Neil Simon, I was like, that's what I want to do. I grew up in a dysfunctional Jewish family, so here I am writing.
And here I am sharing this and bearing my soul with you, right? And, and art imitates real life. And I think that's the other thing about writing and when I meet people that have that creative flair, it's brilliant because last week I was talking to a friend, Sean, and he, we were talking about how grief brings a lot of things up to fuel our creative passions, and I think likewise, I think the realization, Marissa, that you said, I went to school for acting and was like, don't love it. Yeah. I think it's interesting as artists that sometimes we're like, okay, this is the one direction I'm going, and that takes you a completely different way.
Totally.
To use those talents, because you clearly and obviously have talent. I mean, you've been producing and writing now 12 years?
Yeah,
and I don't know if she buried the lead, but I mean, Marissa was a fantastic actress.
She's
still
I'm sure.
She was so good. We did this short film with SAG in LA, and she has a 2-line part, and I swear every time we watch it or show it people, it's like you see it's your movie.
Yeah,
like this plot should have centered around this stage manager character, and I mean, it's one of my favorite things about Marissa is that I love talking about her. I love hyping her up. I love playing that role, and I know she doesn't always like talking about herself.
I hate it.
But I mean, she truly is all of those things. She's like the best producer that anyone could hire. She's the best writer that anyone could hire.
Well, and you have that actor lens, so I think when you're writing, you're probably more thoughtful because you know what it's like to be on the other side of the camera. Same for you.
Sure, absolutely.
You have actors in mind. I always love being directed by people who act because they get it.
And also, like I will say too, a lot of my writing lately has just been centered around plus size women. So the proof of concept that I have over in LA at he may not be named place streaming site is centered around a plus size female wrestler.
Oh my gosh,
so
I love it.
It's about a middle-aged plus size woman who's like going through grief herself, but is channeling that into being a really, really good professional wrestler. And so, like, to me, so much of my writing centers around, like, how can I take something that maybe isn't completely everywhere and put them in a situation where they're unbelievably uncomfortable and then they thrive.
Right.
Or not, or, like, epically fail.
Right.
So, like, for me, that is relatability. And I'll, sort of end with that, but to me, the opposite, I think everybody has these incredibly relatable things that happen to themselves every day. We're all just so connected as people.
Yes.
And to me, the best television that we watch and the television that I try to write is just something that you can say, I absolutely get it.
Yes.
I get it. I get the feeling. I may not be in the circumstance, but like that makes me feel like I'm less alone.
Totally. I mean, the human experience is so raw, and I think, we live in a time now. We had the luck of growing up without this for a while, right? But anyone under 30, it's like the cell phones, the social media, the angles, the posts. I mean, I think we're all kind of guilty of that, right? You get into it and you're like, I gotta look a certain way and I gotta say a certain thing, and you just get to a point. I mean, I am so deep in my 30s, it's not even funny. And I'm just to the point where I'm like, I don't care. If you don't like what I look like or what my voice sounds like, that's great for you, right?
Problem.
Like
that's
this is my lived experience, and what has transpired from that is like when I am my most like unfortunate, like with like how I look or my day, or I'm sharing something very like heavy. That is when I get the most connection with people.
Totally.
And isn't that wild?
And if you're just honest with people, oftentimes people are honest with you, which is.
They crave authenticity, right?
Of course.
And I think when Joey, so not this fabulous Joey,
More
another
than one
fabulous Joey,
More than one Joey.
was like, hey, I have this friend, they're working on this project, I really want you to meet them. Because he and I have rapport and I really like him. He's a great friend of mine.
We've known him for 20 years.
Right. So I'm like, okay, there's gonna be something here. But talking to you guys just in the brief amount of time that we've spent together, it's been so amazing to like watch the trailer and read and learn more about you two. And I love that the film that you have now breathed life into really pays homage to like mob Las Vegas. Like it's the modern day mob. Like I was thinking about this the other day. I'm like, I love it. So Joey, I would love for you to share a little bit about the project, about your background, and how you and Marissa kind of came to create this baby that is This Is Our City.
Well, it's a great story because it involves baby. Like when we found out we were expecting last February, Marissa came to me with a challenge. She said, I want to produce another movie before this kid comes, and I want it to be one of yours. And I said, great, like challenge accepted. So I had been developing this script that I had meticulously written with people in mind already. Like it was not hard to cast this thing because I had written these stock characters. It's a long, it's an hour and 40-minute sketch is what it is.
I love it.
That's the background we both come from. Like, my background, we went to the same undergrad for school, but I, rebelled in sketch comedy and circus performance and all of these like out of the box things, because I'm sure you can relate to this, but you have to sort of be multi-layered and multi-talented these days. You can't just bring one thing to the table.
You can't be like, I'm an actor.
Yeah, it's not
like,
enough. It's
that's
like,
all?
That's
you don't do backflips and you don't speak Italian and you don't sing and you don't...
Exactly, that's right.
I'm like, okay, whoa, guys, whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
Finger paint. I am an accomplished finger paint. I love that. I love that. But also, special skills.
Special skills, put it in there. You never know. You never know when...
Anyone watching this from the performing world is vibing with this conversation right now going, yes, special skills. I'm putting that I juggle, I don't juggle, but there it is.
I ride a horse, I'll figure it out later.
I will be Annie. Get your gun. Like, get out of my way.
Get out of your way. So then we started. Then we went knee deep into pre-production at that point. I had gotten cast in this horror movie that we shot in Tennessee. So right when that was done in June, we came back and it was like two things in mind. Get the nursery ready, prep this movie. So we were full on fundraising mode. Fundraised our asses off to make sure that we had. We didn't want to run into any red flags with anything. Especially, and I'll keep this short because this is a whole nother story. But like the red flags that SAG actually gave us because we were dealing with the LA offices were astronomical. I mean, they tried.
Hoops that were lit on fire.
Hoops that were lit on fire. Like,
quite
listen,
literally.
How fun!
They are a protective union and they take care of their people, but there's also people there that clearly sometimes don't want movies to be made. Anyway, we surmised all of that because we have the best producer in the world who stayed on them, and we did what we had to. And so, like, I had always wanted to do this movie sort of one of my favorite genres, which is a mockumentary. I love mockumentaries. I think there's so many different ways to do that we've already seen. Like This Is Spinal Tap or Pop Star, our favorite, because it's just it's centered in reality. Like, this is supposed to be real. Right. You're aware the cameras are there. You're aware that there's this thing that we're trying to do. And I thought, how do I mesh the two things that I love, which is mockumentary and then crime drama? So let's do a mockumentary about a mafia family, and which
is perfect.
In
Vegas, all places, Vegas, baby. Let's go.
And that's the thing. Is like there's supposed to be, not to spoilers, but like the mob isn't really isn't really around that much anymore.
I
That's
know.
what the, I'm
Darn
as an
it,
Italian,
darn
As an
it.
Italian, I'm not supposed to say that to like, detract attention.
Yeah, you don't want us to know
all
the truth.
dry cleaners are just dry cleaners.
They're just dry cleaners.
Totally dry cleaners.
My parents own a commercial cleaning company, so like, I don't know why I put it in quotes. That's what it is. But so that was the premise, and we honestly, it was just going to be a passion project. Like it was just going to be something that we put our focus in to do before baby girl came.
I was going to say, when baby gets here and goes to college, you're
Right.
like, we had you and we had this movie.
That's right. I mean, it's
I
so
love
true
it.
at the
It's so
same
true.
time.
I love it.
But we got, I want to say that our hard work sort of put us more in line with a path towards fate, because a lot of really great things started happening once we started taking some additional chances. Like I had hired this social media star who does a great Tony Soprano impression. I was like, oh, gotta get this guy in the movie.
Yeah.
I called him up. He made a suggestion of hiring a famous actor that he had just worked with at a convention. He's like, reach out. His day rate is great. We reached out. Boom, we got him. So now instantly we have marketability. Instantly we now can go to a distributor and say, we're having this movie that has this name attached. So then we were like, all right, let's keep aiming bigger. We got another name attached, and then we got another social star, and then things just kept sort of falling into place. Then we had this great shoot. It was very ambitious, 105 pages in 12 days.
Here, and was it all filmed here in
All
Vegas?
filmed in here in Vegas.
Wow.
Yes, all filmed
Wow,
here in
wow,
Vegas.
wow.
Just a tiny bit of like B-roll and stuff in Chicago, but
Yeah.
it was all
Because that's
here.
where a large portion of the cast came from.
Shout out to
'Cause,
Tri-City, baby.
shout out to
Got it.
Tri-City,
Chicago. I
our
love
second
Chicago.
home. Yeah, our second home. And then this thing kind of came together. We got this. Marissa put together a great crew. We were able to hire people from all over, from Oregon, from Tennessee, from LA,
Wow.
from New York, Nashville, and then right here in Vegas. We collected a great group of extras from here in Vegas.
You get fantastic production assistants.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely
These kids
fantastic.
from UNLV and beyond, they came in every day excited and ready to work and so game,
grateful.
so grateful.
They
and
cried when we wrapped.
Oh my gosh.
They were just so happy to be there.
There's a
which
video
is
I
like
have
what you
of me
need,
group hubbing the PAs, and I got these, the Kembe Mutombo like
The
arms.
wings.
So I get them all in there, and I have the video, and I tell everyone that I'm proud of this movie. I'm more proud of the set that we had. I think it's an indication of, if people want to work with us and make movies with us, that's the type of set that we had. It was a family-like environment.
Well, and also, for those of you listening that are not in Vegas, UNLV is our state school down here. And I think it's tremendous that you're tapping into the local talent. There's so much talent here.
So much.
And I think they're just waiting for opportunities, right?
So
and
hungry.
so for you to give them that chance, we have no idea what the ripple will be, right? Well, we do. We know the ripple
Yeah.
will be that they will go on to be incredible on any set.
Sure. Yeah.
We know Warner Brothers is getting ready to come here. I mean,
Sony's already here, yeah.
we are becoming a film town, and I think for you guys to give young artists, young working technicians opportunities to do things like this, that is invaluable.
Yeah, and I would say moreover too, alongside what Joey is saying, seeing, as I'm sure you've worked on so many different projects yourself, when things are jiving and things are going well and it's a healthy environment, and you know when it isn't.
Well, and when it is, that feeling of that excitement of coming to work, right?
Yes.
It's not work.
Yeah.
I joke right now, the show that I'm in, literally how we met.
Yeah.
It's an incredible cast, and it feels effortless. It doesn't feel hard. It's not painful to go on stage with somebody, right?
Yep. And even you could have there were, moments of not even discourse, but differing opinions. But because we were all adults and because we all were emotionally intelligent, we were able to have communications and work forward. It wasn't this petty he said, she said. There wasn't any drama. So with that all being said, what something even moreover than the work, what I hope to instill in these younger artists is that regardless if you're working on a $2,500 set or a $25 billion set, be kind, work hard, listen, be humble, learn from other people. You are not better or worse than anyone else, and that's what I wanted to show them.
I had one sort of rule. Sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt.
you're
I
fine.
had the first thing that I said to everyone, we had our first production meeting with the cast, with the extras and everyone. I said, guys, I have one rule. If you ask for something, say please.
Right.
If you get something, say thank you. That's all I'll ask. because
So simple.
It's simple, but it's also like I wanted people to know that, of course, there is a hierarchy on a set, right? There's this thing. I don't really necessarily believe in that. Like, if there was things it's a team. This is a collaborative effort, and we weren't a team. We were a family, and that's what made me so happy. There was even a day, our star was asking for something, and I went to go fetch it for him, and he was just a little taken aback. He's like, "Well, why is the director walking off set to seek it?" And I told him, I was like, "Because I wanted to."
Right.
Like I was like,
I'm a part of this team too.
I'm a part of this team too, and like I am not above going to another room to grab a shirt because that's not my job. Like I did not believe in that necessarily. And
keeping that humility, I think, as you climb, and you both know this because you've worked on major network shows, you've produced them, you've written them. As my mother used to say, my favorite saying, I treat the janitor and the CEO the same.
Yeah.
Because every single person from that janitor to that CEO, they literally change the way our day flows.
Totally.
And I think acting and performing, being on sets, doing live theater, you really, I feel like if you have half of a brain and a soul, you really do get it.
Yeah.
Because I cannot do my scene without the tech team moving the set, or the lights coming on, or the mic coming on.
It's more collaborative in the world than this,
than live performance, and even recording.
Any of this medium, there is nothing more collaborative I can think of in the world.
And it's beautiful. I think I was listening to, we had the Super Bowl here, right, 2 years ago, and the gentleman who is kind of running the committee that was here locally said, if you ever want things to get done, hire a theater kid. And I laughed.
That is so true.
So hard. I'm like, wait a second. How do you know this, sir?
That's so true.
But also, you become, if you are good at your craft, you keep the humility, and you also keep the ability, I can do it all. I understand, like, this is a team effort. And if I don't do my part, I'm trusting also that trust is so huge in our work.
Totally.
Like, I'm trusting that you're going to come on stage, say your line, do this, do that. And it's wow.
And it's also, from a producer standpoint too, it's hiring people and then giving them the dignity of their experience. I know exactly, like you're saying, I could do it all.
100%.
Especially like I was 7 months pregnant when we started shooting this movie. I knew I could not do it all. I physically, I couldn't.
Right. Like in your brain, you're like, mentally I can. You're like, 100%. But also I'm trying to grow a human being and get the show done.
We had to sit her down. It was like the most mafioso I've ever been. I was like, sit down. Okay, you can't do this.
Yeah. So I hired an assistant, and I delegated everything, and I think too, a producer, from my standpoint, obviously, if you're doing your job and you're doing it right, everyone's doing their thing and you're trusting them to do their thing.
That's
and you're just there. Like I'm like I lay it out for people to play it out, as silly as that means.
Yeah,
but
I love it.
That's what I try to do as a producer, is hire people, give them the dignity of their own experience, trust the people I hired.
Yes.
And then I'm always here. But you've got this.
It's like probably very much like being a parent, right? This is your baby, and you're like, okay, I'm trusting you with this project, this thing, my little baby. And it's like, it's truly amazing, I think. And also to know that you guys chose to film this here. You are both Las Vegas natives, which of course immediately I love that, because I am also a Las Vegas native. There's some talent in this town, I think. But so talk a little bit about the experience of filming in Vegas. Obviously, this town has changed wildly.
Oh my God.
Since the three of us were like
growing up.
Days.
Oh my God,
the Wet and Wild on the Strip, right? Not the fancy one.
That's off in its own little secluded corner.
Its own little like suburbia. I'm like, no, baby, you have to go downtown.
Since the Treasure Island was the Treasure Island and not the TI.
And not the TI. And they had the water, the pirate show.
The pirate show. Every time I go to the Neon Junkyard, I see the skull. I was like, no one knows.
That's so sad.
This skull was a symbol.
No, but I think that's a great question too. Like, people here were so down. We shot in 17 different locations, so across the city, from Summerlin to Henderson and everywhere in between.
Love it.
Everyone was not only fantastic, but just excited. People are, I think, as a population, like people in Vegas, like they know about what's happening, in regards to the studios and stuff being built. So like they were just excited that to be asked, you know, and honestly,
it's amazing.
And there's so much power in asking. We were so lucky that all the locations we worked with, essentially, we got for free because they were just excited to be a part of it. You know,
you were telling. So talk about this a little bit more because you worked with a lot of really great businesses downtown.
Sure,
in the
Arts District was incredible. Yeah.
And they were really thrilled to welcome you. What is that like? I mean, is it typical in your line of work for businesses to be like, come on in, sit right down?
Not really.
No.
Usually it's very
we've
much
shot
like
stuff in LA, and trust me, there's
No,
there's
because
never a thing about excitement.
Right.
There.
I was going to say, because I imagine every storefront in Los Angeles has been hit up, 10, 15 times to shoot something there. And oftentimes, there are filmmakers that just aren't respectful and they aren't responsible. So as business owners, I totally get it. Like, they want to see that you have limited liability insurance. They want to see that you have damage insurance. They want to make sure that their stuff is taken care of. If you say we will be there at 7 a.m., you show up on time. You leave on time. So it's just like,
and that's your reputation, right? I mean, once you establish that rapport, I would imagine that you will be doing more projects locally. At least I hope.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Cheering for my hometown people. But
yes,
it's nice to. I think the universal business practice is creating great relationships.
Yeah, totally.
And it sounds like you guys were really able to accomplish that.
And we also, we met each owner in person, shook their hand, and said, like, thank you for the opportunity for you considering us to allow us to do this thing. And
all of them are coming to the premiere.
It's so exciting.
It was great,
Yeah.
but it was Marissa. The thing that I love about Marissa is the same thing that the one compliment I ever give myself is that I feel like we're both quite conscientious. So I think I know it's important to be aware. Awareness is like the trait that I sort of value the most. It's what I'm going to instill in our daughter. Like, I know how aware Marissa is, and being able to be like, hey, look, like, we appreciate your time and appreciate you lending us our business, or we appreciate you shutting down your business so we can shoot, or giving us a day that you aren't doing business so business doesn't have to slow down.
To be impeded.
Like, we were happy to compromise, but they were so willing to compromise with us because they did see we came prepared with liability insurance. They did see that we knew what we were doing.
Well, you're professionals, right?
Yeah.
I think it's so, and I say this with so much love because we all start somewhere.
Sure.
It's the idea that, you have your proverbial shit together.
Sure.
But that gratitude, I really love that piece of what you both have said in so many words.
Yeah.
It's like being grateful and having appreciation for the spaces and places people and these businesses fill.
Of course.
It's so critical, and it's gobsmacking to me. Like, again, I'm a fundraiser. You were talking about fundraising earlier, and like, I love that you guys understand that piece of it. It's very difficult.
Yeah, it's a grind.
But it's creating relationship. It's creating the understanding that, like, I see the value of what you're doing, and it's so simple, to your earlier comment, but how many people are not doing that?
Yeah.
It's wild. It's outlandish to me that is not like a baseline of business.
No, but I think as you were mentioning before, I do think it's like a live and learn. The first feature I ever shot, we shot in an Airbnb, and I just didn't think to tell the Airbnb owner we were shooting a movie. I just didn't think about it.
Right.
So of course, like, we had rented out this apartment in Chicago, and it was awesome, but people were sleeping there, and we were shooting there, and the guy just did not even know.
Oh my gosh.
And so, like, I think for me, I will say I tend to learn by, trial and error.
Failing forward, honey.
Yeah, totally.
That's what we do. That's right.
To me, it's like, I always just, and as trite as it sounds, like, I always just put myself in there, like Joey was saying, like, some of the businesses, like, they're open these hours, like, they want to do business, especially if they're giving us their space for free. Like, what can we do? And if they don't accept, like, money or something from us, like, how can we be as absolutely utmost, respectful to them, to their space, to their business, you know? I mean, to me, as you said, it's simple, but, like, I think I had to learn,
Well, it's really what film and I think performance teaches us too, right? We're ripping the Band-Aid back on the human experience, and life is so simple. Like, it really is not hard. We, the people, complicate it. We complicate things to a level sometimes that it's like, I feel myself in the last year, like, I'm getting back to the basics. The root basics for me are like, please and thank you are always a part of my vocabulary.
Sure, yeah.
But like, how can I, I was speaking to a group a couple weeks ago in Reno about, building relationships for sales. And I'm like, listen, the number one thing I love, if someone writes me a handwritten card for anything, I will keep it forever. I have shoe boxes
Full of cards. That's incredible.
And I'm talking like career day for the babies, like second graders, all the way up to like birthday cards from people I really love. But like even and a girl from that class wrote me a card, and I got it last week. I cannot tell you, I got this card on the hands down the worst day I've had in 2025, and I was like, I literally just like held on to it, and I was like, all right. Life isn't that bad.
No,
it's
all
not
worth
that
it.
terrible.
It's all worth it when you get something like that.
It was a small gesture that made a massive impact.
Totally.
Like I will never forget this girl. Like I literally can see her clearly in my mind, right? I've met her once. So I think there's a lot of that. Now, obviously, this is a very interesting time in our world.
Yeah, sure.
We are testing and pushing the limits of what can be.
Yeah.
We are seeing the best and the worst of humanity, I think, it would be a fair, right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
So your film is funny and it's campy. It's mockumentary. I love that.
Right.
I love that. I've never heard that term. I freaking love it. So talk to me a little bit about when you were producing this, writing this, creating this, what was the thought process, right? Is it this is something really fun and funny to do? Is this pinching a nerve? Like, where did the inspiration for this film come from?
This is basically the combination of what just runs through my head and has run through my head ever since I started performing. Like, my biggest fault as a human being is I live in perpetual bits nonstop.
I love it.
It's hard to have a conversation with me because, suddenly,
something comes to your mind.
We're in a grocery store in Afghanistan, so like let's do that. Like it's just my thing.
Right.
Like I live like it's my greatest joy.
He entertains our child a lot.
It's my
he's gonna be. Marissa's like, I will write it. Daddy will perform it. It'll be great.
Happily. You see dads, they get like nervous about feeding their kid and pretending to be a spaceship, and I'm like, this is a full-fledged production when it's happening.
Get me the light. Get me the spotlight.
But it's just my thing. Like I love like film, TV, music, art in general. Like it is my life. Like it drives me. Like I like sitting down and watching a movie for me is not just like a way to pass time. Like I know I'm going to be changed after I see it, and that's the type of movies and art we want to strive to do, even something as silly as a comedy.
Right.
And so when we were, preparing this, I had, because of this like core group of people who I knew I wanted to cast the movie around, I knew what we can do together dynamically. I knew what we can do together in this world and in these circumstances. So I set the backdrop. Now, I will say that there was obviously like a very heavy duty script. We did have the opportunity for people to improvise and like add their own little flair to it, but these characters were so already these people, it wasn't really hard. Like we would do a read through and people would try and do stuff, and I'm like, you're trying so hard to be something when you just need to be you.
Bring the
It's also very helpful that our friends that we love so dearly that we've cast, and you'll see, who stars in the movie are all unbelievably talented actors.
Insanely,
and not only it's like effortlessly talented people.
Insanely.
So even them just being is hilarious and authentic in itself.
Because we all got the same training. Like we all know what it takes. We all know
we have the same discipline and work ethic.
And we know how hard it takes to make stuff. You know what I mean? This is not by any means an easy thing. I will not
making
sit
a
up
movie
here.
is so hard.
It was incredibly difficult.
Long hours. It's a lot of, I would say, herding the cats, right?
Yeah.
Getting all of the cats in one place.
We shot 2 movies within 4 months of each other. Like it was
wild.
utterly exhausting. Putting together a nursery at that point was a cake job. I was like, I don't have to do overnights.
This is a joy. Thank you.
So to sort of answer your question, so like that's sort of the basis of like why we wanted to do this story and this thing. And like, every great comedy, there's obviously a little bit of heart to it. There's a little bit of meaning as to why we should care about these characters or whatnot. And like it's family related, you know, like it's the movie is about two brothers who lost a younger brother, and like they are battling that grief by trying their very hardest to be something that they are not, which is badasses.
And make their dad proud of them.
And make their dad proud of them. Granted, their father's a Don, a mafia boss, so like his expectations are a little bit different than a traditional father. But like,
that's what fuels their fear, you know, is they just are so desperate for approval. And but you'll come to see too that the two brothers themselves have their own gifts and creativities and things that they love, but they're trying so hard to manipulate who they are into, like Joey said, being something that they're just not.
And isn't that the interesting irony of comedy, that there is so much heartbreak under the surface of the hee ha-has, right?
Oh no, it's all tragedy.
But I think back to that earlier comment you made, Marissa, it's that relatability.
Yeah.
You know, we all want to laugh. Lord knows I'm looking for a laugh around every corner of every day. If I could laugh all day, I would laugh all day. But, you know, that bringing these stories and making these characters, you know, these living, breathing, like relatable people is just that's really a talent.
Yeah,
It
and
really
it's
is.
really, you know, so much of, I'll just speak from a television perspective, is, you know, television is designed not to end, and the reason why it works is because of the characters, right? And 9 times out of 10, it's love or fear, right? So like the characters are the characters we love to watch that are so unbelievably rich and engaging. You were just watching them deal with fear, within their own life circumstances. Like it's that simple.
So what are some shows and films that you two have felt have really impacted your life as writers, producers, directors, and actors?
Oh, God.
I mean, you go first.
Well, I could say like my favorite movie of all time is Superbad.
Oh,
which is so silly.
I love that film. Yes,
I watched Superbad came out when I was 17.
Yeah, that age,
which is
like
it was the thing that I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to tell raunchy stories, coming of age stories that have a tremendous, again, fear. It's all these guys are so afraid that they're not going to be loved or appreciated if they don't get laid. Right. So like, okay, what are the crazy lengths that we as human beings do to be accepted?
Totally.
You know? That movie changed a lot for me. I will say, as silly as it sounds, but for us, you know, obviously we watch a lot of movies together, and there's so many mockumentaries that, you know, we love that directly influence This Is Our City.
This Is Our City specifically, yeah. I mean, like the bigger picture of stuff. So that's kind of a harder question for me, because my taste and my palate for film in general is all over the place.
Like,
you know,
just gives me boobs, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm a physical, you know, I'm a physical media like head. Like I have you know, I collect Criterion Collection and Blu-rays and VHS, and like just because I love this thing so much. Like I've built my identity and personality off of loving it so much. You know, my favorite movie of all time is a vibes movie. Like it's by no means a movie that, it's Drive with Ryan Gosling. Like it's just a movie that's like,
film.
my gosh.
That and Superbad, great choices.
Yeah, and it's just like it's a movie that I could watch at any point, any given time. And yes, it's great story and great performance, but like stylistically, visual flair, and as I called it, it's a vibes movie. Like it is a vibe. The movie was made. The filmmaker made the movie as a vibe, because him and Ryan were driving and they were like jamming out to REO Speedwagon, and they were like, this is what the movie is, like this sort of general vibe you get. And I love that. And then, you know, you could throw on something super, super depressing like Adolescence, and be so moved, especially as a new father, watching it and being like both terrified and informed of like what I want to make sure our daughter avoids when she becomes that age. And then watching something so dumb like Reno 911 Miami, which was, you know, I will credit as like the biggest inspo for the movie that we just made.
So many times.
Because it's such...
You're like, I could quote this thing.
We watched it probably 5 times last year.
5 times, just because it's so dumb, but it's so dumb and it's so sincere in how dumb it is.
Yes.
And that really is like...
It's the commitment, right?
It's the commitment to being like, this is the... Like, we would show footage to our parents or to people, and like my dad specifically, who, you know, does not have a filter, he goes, this is like the dumbest shit I've ever seen. And I go, thank you. That's what I wanted.
This is what we're aiming for,
Yes.
Dad, actually.
Yeah, this is quite real.
And being able to live that and being able to be self-aware. And so it's just because how you mentioned, like, we live in a very turbulent time, very difficult time, being able to channel all of the fears that are in the world and direct it into these type of characters and in this movie wasn't hard. It was like life could be so challenging, and being able to do this is a privilege.
Totally.
It was so much fun. I mean, and if it's not fun, I don't know.
I don't want it.
It's
No.
just, you know, there is a million, and every movie I've ever made, there's always a moment in my head where I go, why did I do this? Every time. And it's usually about a week or two before we start shooting.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, and then I remember, you know, and then
The stress, the long
stress,
hours.
everything, you know,
Yeah.
but it's like, there was a million reasons why not to make a movie, but you make it because you just have something that you want to say so badly that it's worth it.
Well, as artists, that stirring will never go away.
Yeah.
I
It's the dreamer's disease.
yes, like every time I'm like, I'm never doing another show. I literally just said this to our friend Joey DiBenedetto.
Yeah, sure.
I'm like, all right, this is it. This is it. I'm too old for this. I'm too tired for this. He goes, call me in 3 months. Like you're going to be doing a show
Coming back.
again.
Of course.
And he's not wrong, right? Because there's something within us. A friend of mine said artists are the most dangerous people in the world because they're truth tellers.
Yeah.
And I think there's really something to be said about that, especially when it comes to, and I love film because it lives on forever, right?
Yeah.
Live performance, you are getting a different show every time, whether you like it or not, right?
Which is also great.
It is, but I also think something both of you said about these film choices that you shared, you know, film really can change your perspective on the world. And I think one of to me, the greatest challenges of my 30s is unlearning, and I hate that word, by the way, but I'm going to say it, unlearning what I thought the world was and understanding it for what it is for me
Yeah.
and for the people around me. And I think that is something that you as directors and producers and writers and actors are doing. You are showing the world through your lens a little bit here. And I love that because I think if we're not seeking different perspective,
I mean, you have to.
You know, if you're not learning, you're dying. And I believe that wholeheartedly. And I believe film, theater, all of it, when people leave, you want them thinking, right? Like every time I leave a theatrical whatever, a film, a show, I'm always thinking like, what was the message? What was the lesson? What was my takeaway?
And how are you different now after
Yes.
seeing it?
Yeah. Yes.
That's one, like, the time I'm very usually non-judgmental about when I watch even a movie that I didn't think was very good.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I understand what
You
they
can
were-
appreciate the artistry,
I can appreciate,
right?
and I always appreciate the attempt. I think that's what a lot of I think that's the biggest fear that sometimes a lot of artists have, is being able to go up there and take a swing.
Right.
And I, will credit us. We're always not afraid to go up and take a swing because why not?
Fear kills so many dreams and ideas, right?
Everything. Life, right?
Yes. And I think, it's the bold. Life is for the taking. It's for the bold. It's for those that fearlessly and relentlessly pursue their passions. And I think, it's just so exciting to me that we, Las Vegas, have you two back here doing projects like this that are no doubt feeding the fire that's already kind of burning with what is to come.
Yeah.
That's the hope.
What are your thoughts on the direction that this town is going? Like really becoming kind of this. We are the entertainment capital of the world, but really leaning into like, what is this going to look like? Do you think for local talent, for the economy, for really like what we're trying to put forth here?
I think it's great. I mean, obviously, as somebody that's excited about new shiny things, I'm excited about new shiny things. All the studio lots that are in Los Angeles are like, 70 plus years old, which bless it, they're cool.
Right.
Like it's cool to go on a tour. It's cool to work there. It's
Totally.
cool. It's cool to see like old lights that they used in Casablanca. Like, don't get me wrong, but like, I'm excited for the newness. I'm excited to see what kind of technology is going to come with alongside these studios to be able to make things easier, to make things brighter and better and the talent that comes along with that, you know. I think it's going to be fantastic for the economy. I'm excited
Agreed.
for people that honestly are just getting priced out of living in Los Angeles, that they're going to have somewhere really exciting to come that's, you know, where there's, again, a lot of hungry, creative people here. And I think it's going to help people that live here to elevate their game.
Yes.
You know, I think people sort of rested on the fact that this isn't LA, and so they don't have to be whatever they deem to be. But LA talent is going to come here, and they're going to chew you up.
Again,
you know?
it's for the taking, it's for the bold.
Yeah.
If you're, and I think, you know, anything worth having, anything worth doing, we know this as artists, right? We're going to get how many no's and no and no.
Right.
But then you get one yes, and that yes fuels you. It can propel you forward. And I think,
Always.
But I think that's life though, too.
Yeah.
Probably in your industry with directing and producing, if you're not ambitious and you're not aspirational and you're not out there pushing the envelope, how can you survive?
But that's the thing. That's the thing. Even with actors too, you know, obviously actors have once you hit a certain echelon, you know, actors have great representation that really helps sort of move that forward in a lot of ways. But
totally.
Every creative, producer, director, anyone that's won an Oscar, you know, and it's interesting that like the median age for Oscar winners is like 50.
Right.
50
It's
plus.
not
and
young.
You can see
That's
that,
right.
like, you know, there are not people my age winning Oscars right now. And it's because we're grinding right now. And in 20 years, we
will see you winning the Oscars. Yeah, we will. I'm putting that out in the air right now.
Thank you. But I'm just saying, like, it's interesting to me every time I watch those award shows because I'm like, oh, yeah. And you look on their IMDb pages, they've been working for 30 years.
Right.
You know, and
didn't hit their big break until
they
they
were
were mid
50.
Morgan Freeman in his 60s when he started like
with
becoming
Shawshank.
a household name.
Ian McKellen, I think, was 71 when he first.
Oh, and I love him.
Look at Olivia Colman. I mean, look, she's in her 60s.
Yeah.
Like,
it's the idea that the dream, the storytelling, the opportunity, you just never know when it's going to present itself. And for most artists, I think it's so easy in this era of social media and all of this to just be like, they just got handed it. There's very few people, if you really unpack them, that are at that level that it's just a hand, okay? Like, controversial thing I'm going to say of the day, guys, because I have to say one controversial thing a show. The Kardashians, right? When you have all the resources and you're given a show and you're given this, okay. But they are a 0.0005%.
Yeah.
Everyone else's are out here coming from nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, literally building themselves.
I mean, Bill Hader was a PA on the Skeleton Key.
I love that movie with Kate.
No, sorry. The what was the Mummy with The Rock?
Oh, The Mummy Returns.
The Mummy Returns.
Yes.
He was a PA on that. You know, and that was not that long ago. And now he was a showrunner for one of the most successful shows on HBO.
It's crazy.
You know, and it's just, regardless of his SNL career, like, I'm just talking about as a filmmaker. So, like, in saying, and I know I mentioned this before, but, like, it is a dreamer's disease. Like, it is something that has infected my entire brain and body. You know, I was
going to say, but you could see it. I mean, if you look at the two of the biggest movies that came out in 2024, Anora, which won Best Picture.
Yep.
This movie, The Brutalist, which was right up there with all nominations and the level of storytelling. Both of those directors mentioned, like, they did not get paid for those movies. They were passion projects. They put their life and soul.
Yeah,
Brutalist was shot for $10 million. It feels like a $50 million movie.
Was he the one that also was saying, like, I will make no? I literally he went out publicly and said, I will make no money on this film.
He had to go and do like commercial work.
And you know how many no's he got?
I can't even imagine.
The nose on like the cut of the movie, because it was like 3+ hours. The no on this with an intermission, which was fantastic, by the way.
Actors turning down the roles left and right. He had to shoot in another country
Oh my gosh.
to make, because that was the budget that they had, and he wanted to make this movie so badly. And look.
Someone said, and someone gave him the chance, and someone said, "Fine, we trust you." And they said, because they trusted him, he went out and he did, and he did that. But Sean Baker's the same way.
Yeah.
It's the same way, and it's like if Marissa's point is not hammered home, like, that's a direct example of that.
Right.
Like, that wasn't a studio saying, "Here's $50 million, go make what you want."
Have fun.
That's them going like, "This is the movie I want to make. I have to raise the money. I have to get the cast. I have to get producers attached. I have to get investors attached."
They are everything.
That's what Seth Rogen just said. That's what the industry is today, and that it's not a scary thing, but it's just more of a challenge.
Well, it weeds out those who kind of want to do it and those who
really want to do it.
Like the dreamer's disease. I'm obsessed with that. Now that you've said that.
But it's very interesting too that like right now, sort of gone in television at least, there are not these big writers' rooms. You can't just say that I'm a staff writer for a television show, because most people that are writing on staffs are producing and directing.
They're doing it all.
Mike White, the guy, he's the showrunner for White Lotus. He wrote every single episode. He had no other writers, and so those days are kind of gone.
Right.
So if you are not, again, willing to humble yourself to the fact that gone are the days that you're just a staff writer, that you're just a comedian, that you're just a singer.
You have to be
exciting.
multidimensional. Yeah.
And that's
it is exciting, and it is a tremendous opportunity, I think, to really flex your artistic muscle,
Well, and so, sort of to piggyback off of the, the studios conversation, like, I think everyone is overly optimistic about studios coming, it presenting jobs, it creating more work.
Yes.
We, as now the runners of a production company, we don't want to be humbled by, there's this work coming. We want to keep making work.
100%.
We want to keep making work with artists like us, who are hungry, they cannot sleep until they get this
project
said. And like, that's the thing that I want to be cautious about when these studios come, is I don't want people to immediately become complacent. I don't want them to just say, this is going to be Hollywood 2.0, it'll work out. Atlanta's a prime example. Atlanta did all of this, and they are thriving, but they're not slowing down. And that doesn't mean that they're building more studios. They know that they can't just hand over fist just create work and be okay with it. They need to create quality work, because that's why people are going there. Yes, it's cheaper to film, and it's going to be much cheaper to film here 100%. Than it is in California. But that doesn't mean that it should just be like, okay, we're good now. Like, the hunger should never go away. I don't think it will ever go away for us, especially like, we're would it be a joy to work with a studio? Absolutely. But like, we're indie filmmakers. We've done so much with so little.
So much.
And we don't need that much to be able to do it.
But that's where some of the best films come from.
Yeah,
I mean, frankly,
absolutely.
Some of the best films I've seen, I'm just like,
we use Napoleon Dynamite a lot as an
example.
Yes,
I love that film.
For This Is Our City, for this movie, not that they're alike in comp, but they made a proof of concept for Napoleon Dynamite. It got picked up, and then they got some money behind it. But it made, I think it was 700 times its budget, because it just hit. It hit at the right time. There was just not a whole hell of a lot to it.
We loved it though. We loved it. We'll quote it. We'll wear the costumes.
But that's what I'm saying, and that's what I told Joey. I was like, this movie I think it's fantastic in so many ways, but I can't wait for people to become friends with other people because they quote this movie and they're like, oh my God, you've seen This Is Our City, isn't that movie? And then they're like, great. And their friends in college are like, oh my God, what is that? And they're like, dude, we have to have a watch night. It's the best movie ever. And then friends become friends with people because of the camaraderie of watching this ridiculous movie.
Art brings people together, and I think that is one of our inherent drivers, right? Is we want to connect. We want connection over everything. Okay, Marissa and Joey, every episode I love to give my guests an opportunity to share about their business, their passion project, what they're doing. So I would love to give both of you the opportunity to tell us about not only This Is Our City, but also, I failed to mention, sorry people, their amazing production company is Pretty Power Bombs. So I want to make sure that everybody knows that. So if you two would, please take it away. I would love for you to just share a little bit more about your company and the film.
Well, I'll talk about I'll talk about the movie, and then please talk about the production company. This Is Our City is a movie that we shot right here in Vegas, and it's the story of the son of a mob boss dying for respect in the criminal underworld, decides to hire a camera crew to document his life, thinking that he will film this movie and then push it out and he'll win an Oscar and he will finally gain the respect of the criminal underworld. What he doesn't realize is that the camera crew that he hires are undercover FBI agents who are doing their very, very best to try and thwart this criminal syndicate and bring them down from the inside and shenanigans ensue. So that's
Love
basically,
it.
I mean, that's it in a nutshell. Like this, like I wanted the log line and the premise to be as fun as it sounded like it was when we filmed it. And it was a blast. And I don't think that this is a movie that will sort of be the staple point of what we want to do with Pretty Pretty Powerbomb. You know, the type of work that Marissa and I have produced over the years has ranged. The last movie that I wrote and directed was, you know, an Italian language crime noir that's like more in line with David Lynch than Reno 911. And Marissa's got so many wonderful, wonderful scripts that are so character driven and are so A24 and neon worthy.
Neon, hit me up.
Yeah. So
Neon, hit her up.
Neon, hit her up. So, I mean, Pretty Pretty Powerbomb, I mean, we launched to make this movie, and we want it to be a production company that puts a focus on stories and characters, but more importantly, that the people that do it are passionate about the projects they want to do.
Yeah, and ideally with Pretty Pretty Powerbomb here, like shooting here in Vegas, we really are passionate about shooting projects here. Raising money here, you know, working with vendors here, venues
Giving
here.
jobs to people here,
Giving jobs
yeah.
to people here.
Love it.
Promotion to businesses here.
Yeah, promotion to businesses here. I mean, really, just sort of a love letter to this place that really sort of shaped us. This is obviously, we met here, we choosing to raise our child here. You know, this is a place that's very special to us.
And it has vastly, you know, changed in so many great ways because, you know, we lived in Chicago for over 12 years, love Chicago, we did LA, we were going to go back, and then we kind of moved back here end of 2021 going into 2022 sort of as a placeholder. Okay, where do we go next? And then when we took off our beer goggles and looked around, we said, oh, like the Arts District, an incredible revival of that neighborhood. I mean, we used to. I went to LVA. Driving through the Arts District, it was a ghost town. Nothing was going on.
It's just like meth labs.
And now it's meth labs with houses on fire. And I'm like, oh, there's my dad. And then you look at they built the Smith Center, and now we have more theater in here, which was, you know, I mean, we're theater rats at the end of the day. Like I was so proud growing up that LVA was like the other theater thing to do other than go see a Cirque show. But then as I got older, I thought, why was a high school the other thing to do?
Totally.
To see it. So I was like, the town needs more. You know what I mean? They need theater as a thing. I mean, theater.
It's telling that the Smith Center sells out all the time.
All the time because people were hungry for it. And
they're desperate for it.
And people wanted. It's nice to see that Vegas is sort of just transitioning away from only the spring break gambling March Madness town of like bachelor parties and things like that. It's still 100% that. But to see that there's all these other things to be able to do. I mean, we didn't shoot any of This Is Our City on the Strip. We didn't shoot any of it on Fremont Street. We shot it in areas of Vegas that are areas now that people should know about. Like, and it's like, you know, Arts District being the key one because we love it down there.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's beautiful. And I think that it's so cinematic on its own.
Yeah.
And being able to tell a story like this without hitting the hot points in Vegas.
Yeah, my friend wrote a pilot about corpses in Lake Mead. You know,
I love that.
But like, you know, it's just like that's the kind of stuff that I want.
There's actually, for as young as our community is, there's actually this really interesting, deeply rich history here, and a lot of major things have happened
so many
here.
people have died and have been
correct.
Lots
of ghosts.
that live in Lake Mead. It's like, I think it's awesome.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Marissa, Joey, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for sharing not only your amazing energy, but this exciting project. Ladies and gentlemen, This Is Our City. It will premiere on May 26, 2025 at the Beverly Theater downtown. We're going to put more information about where people can find Pretty Pretty Powerbomb, the show, learn more about Marissa and Joey, and again, get out and support the arts. I mean, if this is nothing else, it's a plug for the fact that arts really are, I love what you said, a love letter to humanity. And it's really just putting out our stories. So thank you so much for joining Conversations with Caitlin this week. Please like, follow, and subscribe. And I will be including these two amazing people and their socials in our details with the episode. Have a great week. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please like, subscribe, and follow us at Convos with Kate on all social platforms. It would mean the world to me. See you next week.